Welcome to the Full-Time Fantasy Podcast, presented by the Fantasy Football World Championship, home to the industry's most accurate rankings.
What is up, everyone? Welcome to the Full-Time Fantasy Podcast. I am your host, Adam Krautwurst, and with me tonight is Snake, here with me to break down all the Week 3 games. What is up, my friend? How is everything going?
Absolutely perfect, Adam. It's a pleasure to be here again. Hello out there in fantasy land, ladies, gents, fellow degenerates alike. Hope your 2 weeks went as well as could be, given the utter and sheer carnage on the injury front, which seems to make the headlines after 2 full weeks of fantasy football. But it's great to have football back, Adam, isn't it?
It is great. I love watching the games. This is my first time on since Vegas. Vegas was more than advertised. It was sensational. The parties were great. The drafts were great. The people were awesome, as usual. Made some new friends. Saw some old friends. It was a really good time. For those of you watching who caught up with me, had an absolutely incredible time with you guys. So let's dive right into it, because we got a full slate of games here. We want to get through every game. We're going to talk about some players that we're looking at for each and every game, and maybe some waiver wire guys we're looking at as we kind of move through these games here. Pretty gross week this week, Snake. 7 games are projected by Vegas to be under 42 points. That's disgusting. Under 40 points. That's gross. Starting with the first game, Patriots-Jets, that should be a real gross one. Thursday night football games are usually low scoring. They're usually not very good. But then you got 2 kind of low scoring offenses here. What do you think of this Patriots-Jets game tomorrow night?
Yeah, I mean, it's not going to be an offensive slugfest. It doesn't seem that way. That's for certain. Both teams, though, should have an opportunity to put up at 20 plus. So that's 4 touchdowns at least, I believe. On the Patriots side, I like Ramondre Stevenson. Although he's come out wheels are pumping the first 2 games, put up some nice numbers. And the Jets defense is really disappointed to date. They're still in preseason form, like most defenses are, Adam. But Hunter Henry also on the Patriots side had a pretty surprising game after going quiet week 1. On the Jets side, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I like you brought up Hunter Henry. I was going to bring him up. I have him as a tight end 1, a top 12 tight end this week. He's a guy that I was drafting everywhere, just hoping that the offense went through him because the receivers are young and experienced. That has been the case. I didn't start him a lot after week 1. He didn't do much. Week 2, I didn't start him a lot. Well, Evan Ingram, hamstring injury last second, forced me to have to start him, and he came through in a huge way. Sometimes you get lucky like that. So I definitely like Hunter Henry moving forward here. The Jets defense is okay. Their D line has not been good, and that's the problem. And so I think Ramondre Stevenson, they want to run the ball. The coach said in the preseason, I want to be the best screen team in the league. Gibson's catching the ball. Ramondre's catching the ball. Ramondre has a good chance to score in this game, although the over-under is 38.5. But I
have the over-under at 41.5.
Oh my gosh, look at this! I'm on DraftKings, so maybe it's changing. This is why you got a line shop, folks. This is why you got a line shop. I've got over-under 38.5, but it's still not very high either.
No, it's not.
But I think you're starting. You talk about the Jets side. You're starting all your normal guys. You're starting your Garrett Wilsons, who's getting all the target share. He's getting all the volume, which he just hasn't scored yet. He hasn't clicked yet. He played a really good Niners defense.
That's only a moment of time, sir.
It's only a moment of time. You're starting Breece Hall, who's awesome. What's your Braylon Allen take?
Boy, Breece Hall owners can't be too pleased with what happened in terms of altering 2 touchdowns. But the kid's 20 years old. He's still wet behind the ears. God's sake, right? He's the youngest, and Aaron Rodgers is the oldest in the entire league. Seriously, they're both bookmarks there for the age gap in the NFL. Braylon Allen looks tough. He's got to surpass Breece Hall. He's going to be pressed for playing time. This will probably be his highest scoring game of the year. Yes, I don't think he's going to get in the end zone twice. Brees always has the ability to take it to the house from anywhere in the field. And Braylon Allen was not necessarily employed in the red zone or inside the 5. So, but hey, he's a hell of a handcuff.
That's right. Hell of a handcuff. I don't think you're starting Braylon Allen. I don't mind workhorses like Brees Hall getting spelled by guys like Braylon Allen. I just hate when they're on the field at the same time and they lose a touchdown. They use Brees Hall as a decoy. Braylon Allen scores. I did not like that. I have a lot of Brees Hall, but yeah. So tomorrow, I think you're starting your normal guys. Start Ramondre. Start Hunter Henry on the other side.
And a sneaky waiver wire pick who might be out there, Sir Adam, is Jalen Polk.
Yes.
I think he's going to emerge as the wide receiver 1 for the Patriots as the year goes on. There's not really a lot of talent in terms of competition. He did score a touchdown. He didn't have many targets. He had a couple of catches, but he looked good. I passed the football test.
Yep. I think I would wait I would wait. If you have him, don't drop. I would wait for the quarterback change to happen. It's going to happen probably week 5. They play, I forget who they play. They play the 49ers somewhere in there. And then I think week 5, they're going to roll out the rookie after they get through the tough teams. And then we'll see what Jalen Polk can do. So
I wonder what the odds are. I don't even think he makes it to week 5 personally, but we'll see.
Could be. All right. Next game, we're going to talk about Giants against the Browns. Another pretty bad over under here. I'll find that in a second, but over under.
The over under I have there. So you and I have different over unders. I have 42 points on that game.
Wow. What are you looking at?
I'm looking at ESPN, man.
Okay. I'm on DraftKings. I don't know. Either way, I've got 38.5. So it's somewhere around 40.
Yeah. Take the difference. It doesn't matter. It's still pretty damn low.
It's still pretty damn low. Is right. Another really low scoring game. Adam, Giants, go ahead. What do you think?
Adam, remember when I said Malik Neighbors way back in late May, early June was going to have 150 targets plus? Well, I never thought that I would be actually shortchanging myself with that number. My goodness, 66. Let me say that again. 66% of the targets last week went to Neighbors. Overall, through 2 games, he has a 38% target share. I mean, it's unsustainable, but the Giants really don't have much other competition to throw it to. Wandel's good in the slot. They have no tight end. They don't throw. Singletary catches a few, but Malik Neighbors is set up to be the largest target hog in the league potentially. What do you think?
Yeah, dude, I love it. 66, 17 targets last week. I mean, you and I were drafting a lot together and a lot against each other kind of towards the end. We were jockeying, hey, how do we get Malik Neighbors on our team at the best value, stuff like that? Because he's a dog. Like you just see him out there. Daniel Jones is good enough to get a guy like Malik Neighbors the ball. Had a great game last week. Unfortunately, it's a huge fantasy loss, but he also dropped a big 3rd or 4th down, which could have iced the game. They ended up losing that game.
Yeah,
but
as a Giants fan, that hurt. I saw that. That didn't go unnoticed.
Yeah, that's right. He's fine. He's great. I think I wouldn't be surprised if he finishes a top 12 receiver rest away. obviously starting Malik Neighbors. I like the way they've been using Singletary. He's 4th on the team in targets, only got 1 last week. I think again, it was Malik Neighbors week, but I think you're fine starting Singletary in a game like this, kind of a grimy, low scoring game. They're probably going to want to run the ball against Cleveland. So they are 6.5 point underdogs. So maybe he does get some of that. He can catch. Maybe he does get some of that garbage time, the receptions too. Yeah, but those are probably the only 2 guys I'm starting off of the Giants.
I concur. Wan'Dale Robinson, every time he's on the field, he produces though. I wouldn't overlook him necessarily, but in terms of starting, there's better options than him. Cleveland's run defense, not looking as vaunted as they were last year through 2 games. But again, it's only 2 games. We have a very small sample size. So if Cleveland comes to play and they stop the run, I think Malik will get, a little bit play action, some balls thrown his way. I don't know about 66% of the throws going his way, but I'll settle for half of that. I'll settle for a third of that.
Yeah, for sure. You definitely are okay with that.
On the Brown side,
yeah, go ahead.
What happened with Jerome Ford? I mean, he was the way the Browns are employing their running backs are a little bit mysterious, for lack of a better term. He looked pretty. Go ahead.
Definitely frustrating. I mean, the Giants are a good matchup, allowing 9% more than the average back, 2 running backs. But if Jerome Ford can kind of get rolling again, I like him against the Giants, especially as favorites in that game. Cleveland's not going to be favorites in many games this season, but it's interesting for Deonta Foreman there getting more work than Ford. I really don't know what that's about.
I think Ford. I'm sorry to interrupt. Ford's stat line, I believe, was 7 carries for 64 yards. That's a 9-yard average per average carry. I mean, if I'm the Browns coach, I think I'm putting the ball in his hands as opposed to Foreman, unless I'm down at the 2-yard line. I don't get it.
Yeah, I think Foreman's certainly worth a pickup this week, because if it does continue, you got yourself a starting running back, and who knows about Nick Chubb when he's going to come back, how good he's going to feel when he does. So I think Foreman's a pickup this week in most leagues. Always add running backs whenever you can. I mean, there's a lot of guys you can kind of trim the fat on some of these receivers that you're holding on to. Never drop running backs, like unless you're adding a running back. But I hate to ever drop a running back. I'm always adding them because, again, you're an injury away.
That's Adam's. That's your pet peeve, Adam.
That's my pet peeve, man.
It's cardinal sin to drop running backs, man.
I mean, look at what we're doing. We're putting bids in on guys like Cam Akers this week. Like what? Like that's where we're at. Like it's we all want running backs every week. 2 of them are going to go down.
Absolutely. By the way, Amari Cooper has been pretty quiet over 2 games as well, huh?
He's been so gross. It's been so gross. And he's been getting the target share too. I'm going to look up that target share real quick here too, but he's been getting the targets. It's just they have not been accurate. 25% target share last week, 8 targets. He scores 4 fantasy points or something. Like it's so freaking gross.
Remember the guy throwing him the ball is still he's still looking, it's been 3 years in the making. We're waiting for a 30% return of Deshaun Watson of what he used to be. 32%. He used to be. He was a top 3 quarterback when he was right with Houston. Boy, how the mighty have fallen at him.
I know.
So he can't be trusted. What was Njoku out? Look out! Elijah Moore might be a sneaky pick off the waiver wire as well. I think he got 4 or 5 targets last week as well.
I've always loved Elijah Moore. He got 8 targets last week, tied with Amari Cooper. I've always loved Elijah Moore. I just don't trust the offense to be consistent. The guys this week 3, I'll be looking to start. Giants defense isn't very good. Start your Amari Cooper. Start your Jerome Ford. Without Njoku, you're not starting him. I don't really want to have to start Watson. Quarterback play has been so bad this year. You might get to him against the Giants. So, and then on the Giants side, I'm starting Singletary. I'm starting Neighbors, and that's probably it.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, for sure.
I concur wholeheartedly.
All right, next one we've got the Packers and the Titans. Oh, God, a battle of 2 quarterbacks. Again, I don't even have to look. What's this one? What's the over-under on this? 24? Something like that.
Not quite that low. I've got 43 and a half.
Yeah, I've got 30. I got 39. So somewhere in that. Again, super, super low. Packers, Titans. Packers are underdogs against the Titans here. Packers defense, man, talk about waiver wire pickups. Look up, Packers defense is probably available everywhere. Pick them up if you can. I like them. What do you do with this passing game until we get to Jordan Love back? Are you just avoiding it completely, Snake?
Well, Adam, first of all, Jordan Love was a limited participant today at practice. Now, I mean, I don't know if that's just coach speak or not. I suspect he's not going to play this week, but you never know. If he's not in there, Malik Willis has not shown anything in terms of getting his wide receivers the ball. He hasn't shown anything since he's been in the league. I mean, the guy can run, but not much else. I feel sorry for Christian Watson and Jaden Reed and Romeo Doubs to a lesser extent, though. Romeo Doubs owners. Romeo Doubs, I think, is the better of the 3. He had more targets than all 3. Watson put up a goose egg, I believe. Romeo had 9 points, I believe.
Yeah, I don't remember exactly what Romeo had, but it wasn't. They didn't throw the ball at all there.
Romeo needs love. Without love, Romeo is left saying, "Romeo, Romeo, where art thou?"
Yeah.
He's quoting Shakespeare.
Wicks actually led the team in targets with 30% target share and 4 targets. Reed had 3 targets. Dobbs had 3 targets. Kraft had 3 as well. So I'm not even starting Jaden Reed. Now I understand he gets carries, but he's banged up this week. He might not even play. I don't think they're starting Jordan Love. I think they think they can beat the Titans without Jordan Love, and they want to rest him. So I'm resting I'm not starting any Packers except for Josh Jacobs, who I'm happy to start against the Titans. And then the Titans offense, man, I mean, talk about a banged up mess. That Will Levis is terrible. Hopkins is hobbling around out there. Now he plays the Jets, and so they have a good Sauce Gardner. I've been saying this since week 1 of Sauce Gardner's rookie season. All he does is hold every receiver all over the field. And then they finally show a highlight of the game on Red Zone. And there's Hopkins running like a post corner. He's grabbing him into the post. He's grabbing him out of the post. And Hopkins is hobbling. Hopkins looks terrible.
Well, Sauce is a shutdown corner, but he's not going to be on Hopkins. He'll be matched up with Ridley. But having said that, you're correct. In terms of Hopkins, I'd be real worried. He looks like he's done. I would not be surprised if Hopkins was put either on IR or declared out for the season.
I agree.
As even before this week's game comes up, I wouldn't be surprised at all.
Yeah. So I think the Packers' top guys will probably be on. I think you might get some of them as well. But yeah, I don't like starting really. I mean, Ridley, I guess you have to. But Pollard is the guy that I like, and I know you like Pollard too, Snake. We had talked about that. I think it's clearly his role. He's involved in the passing game. He's involved in the running game. Are you excited to start Pollard this week, or what do you think?
I'm a little bit surprised at the usage between Pollard and Spears. Pollard has been very steady and solid in the 2 games. I still think that Spears has more explosiveness in him, and he does play on passing downs. I believe he was out there on passing downs more than Pollard was. I think it's only a matter of time before Spears not only evens Pollard but surpasses him. But until that happens, as you stated, Pollard's the play. But I would not hesitate nor run away from playing Spears in a flex position this week.
Sure. I totally get that, especially in a matchup like this. Calvin Ridley, 22% of the target shares last week with 6. Tony Pollard, 22% of the target shares with 6. So I think I like him in the passing game too.
What does Spears have? How many targets?
You know what? I'm looking at this stuff here from full time. It only has the top 4 from each team.
Okay.
Then it was Boyd. Then it was Chig. So
because
Spears
he hurt himself too. He left early with an ankle early in the third quarter. So that game wasn't really reminiscent. It's not a great barometer of how the usage is going to be going forward. The first game, arguably was because Spears did not get hurt. He didn't have to leave early. But don't give up on Tajay Spears. I think he's going to be the better back by season's end.
There we go. Finally, a game worth talking about. Texans versus the Vikings. Got an over-under of 48. We have Minnesota as an underdog here. Minnesota surprised.
46.5, by the way. So it's the closest we've been so far. Go ahead.
There we go. This game can put up some points. The Vikings, Darnold surprising some people. Darnold looks kind of reborn there. A smart young offensive coach. Justin Jefferson helps, but you've got I want to say Rager. It's not Jalen Rager. There's what's the other receiver there? That's
Naylor.
Naylor. Yes, thank you. Naylor's been looking good. Touchdowns in back-to-back games. I like this Vikings offense. They can get Addison back. They can get Hawkinson back. They've been surprising.
Yeah, Naylor. I was just looking over waivers on I have 34 teams this year. That's about what, a tenth of what you have?
Something like that.
You're what, 342 or
769? Who knows? I lose track.
At any rate, Naylor is indeed available still on more than one league that of the 34 I'm in. So of the 340 that you're in, I suspect it's more than just 2 leagues as well. He's a damn good pickup. Addison's ankle seems to be lingering. Yep. He also has a looming potential suspension. So Naylor is kind of a sneaky pick. He's up there with Jalen Tolbert, who we'll talk about later. He's my two sneaky waiver wire pickups this week.
Yeah, and then Jefferson's probably going to play, but if he doesn't, now you've got Naylor there all by himself. Jefferson had 29% of the target share and only played like half the game. It's crazy. Aaron Jones actually number 2 there in target share, 25%, 6 targets. He's been doing really well. but it might be closer to a 1A, 1B snake than we were thinking at the beginning of the year with the backfield there.
Yep. Chandler. Well, we were really thinking 1A, 1B, weren't we?
Yeah, I was. I mean, I
was.
The community is what I'm thinking.
Yeah, no, yeah, okay. So you and I are head of the community. We'll be humble.
That's right.
No, the community that's watching are way ahead of us, or at least even. So I want to make that clear from the outset. Yeah, Chandler passes the eyeball test better than Aaron Jones did in week 2, not necessarily in week 1. Problem with Chandler is he got 8.2 yards per carry on 10 totes. He got 82 yards, but he didn't catch a single ball, which was the opposite of what happened in week 1. I'd hold on to both of them. I think they're both startable in the flex, especially with the injury bug, sheer carnage out there. So I think Chandler is playable.
I think Jalen Naylor is a sneaky flex this week too, especially, in a game that could be high scoring against the Texans, in a game where if Jefferson plays, he's going to get a lot of the defensive attention from their lockdown corner over there, Stingley, I think it is. And so Naylor could be the guy that could be a sneaky flex.
No, it is Stingley. Stingley will more than likely shadow Jefferson.
Yeah, for
if
sure.
He goes. And I think Jefferson will go. Jefferson's a gamer too, I think he'll be all right, but who knows? We'll see. But Naylor is one of the 2 sneaky waiver wire additions.
For sure. Over to the Texans, man. So the Texans are a team that we talked about a lot on the show whenever you were on. We talked about a lot in person. What do you do with the receiving core? Last week, Nico Collins, 10 targets, 30% of the target share. Stephon Diggs, 6 targets, 18%. Dell, 4 targets, 12% of that target share. So there's the top 3. Those are the guys. Go ahead. You want to say something?
Yeah, no, it's been very interesting. I mean, we were all trying to figure it out. Everybody in the community was trying to figure out what the pecking order would be like. And I don't think it's been well established after 2 games. We're going to have to still wait and see. I know Dell dropped a potential touchdown pass that he should have caught. But going into the season, I had Nico as the number 1 clear-cut wide receiver for Houston. Unlike you, who had Stephon Diggs. You're on that Diggs choo-choo train. You love riding the Diggs choo-choo train. And I said Diggs was going to be a 2 or 3 by the time the season's over. But, hey, he scored 2 touchdowns on limited volume week 1. Last week, again, what do you say, 18% share?
Yep, 6 targets. Yep.
Yeah. Nico's a stud, man.
Nico's a stud. And I remember messaging you towards the end, hey, I think we should get some Nico. I think I might be a little low on Nico. You might be right. And so we started to get him there towards the end. My thing with Diggs was, Nico was going at the 2-3 turn, Diggs at the 3-4 turn. It's still early. Nico certainly looks incredible and looks like his guy. Diggs will get his. Dell might be a buy low candidate too. Lots of air yards. Like he's going to have his weeks too. So
I agree. Dell's a buy low candidate. I would concur wholeheartedly with that.
Yeah. So you're starting all those guys if you have them. Joe Mixon, we talk about the injuries. This guy beginning of his career, couldn't stay healthy. Now he can't get hurt. Look, he get his leg ripped off on that hip drop tackle in that game. He comes back in. Running backs never come back in. Ever. They never come back. He comes back in. He's probably playing this week. Maybe they're I don't think he practiced today, but
that was ugly looking. I mean,
it was so ugly.
That was fugly looking. That was an exact replica of what happened to Jordan Love, as far as I saw. Maybe even worse, the way his ankle twisted. And I thought the NFL was going to do something about the drop down tackles. It's a tough call on the field, but boy, they're not pretty. They can do some serious damage.
Yeah, I think their answer to that was considering finding the players afterwards. But
okay.
Who knows? But Joe Mixon, probably, definitely if he's able to play, he's a top 10 back every single week, week in, week out. He's a workhorse back. So
right, but what about the backup? That's an interesting dilemma right there, wrapped in a conundrum riddle, because Dameon Pierce is his 3rd year in the league. He's very familiar with the system. Cam Akers is really an unknown quantity, despite him being listed at number 3 on the depth chart. Coming off of 2 Achilles, he's supposedly a ghost of what he used to be. It's a very interesting dilemma there, because that could be a very valuable position to hold on to, the backup running back for the Texans, regardless of Mixon's health, just even without what happened last week with his ankle getting rolled up on. So they're both available in numerous leagues. What's your thoughts on the Akers-Pierce debate?
Yeah, I'm Akers over Pierce. Pierce has had his shot. He doesn't fit the scheme. He's been there a while. I'm surprised he hasn't been traded yet. Pierce and Mixon also didn't practice today either. So I'm big on picking up Cam Akers, and maybe if it's him and a Daryl Gumbawale in this game, you can start Cam Akers, and he's certainly a flex. He's looked good. Are we getting to the point, Snake? We didn't get to J.K. Dobbins yet. Are we getting to the point where like Achilles injuries used to be career ending, and now with Dobbins the way he bounced back, and Akers look good coming off the. He's been a little bit longer off of the Achilles, but maybe we can trust him moving forward.
Yeah, I mean, miracle modern medicine is making advances. So obviously the Achilles is not what it used to be. Dobbins proved it so far. I'm knocking on wood because Dobbins is my guy.
Yes, for sure.
One of my guys. So I'm hoping that he just keeps it up. But I'm not sold on Akers over Damien as much as you are, to be honest with you. Yeah, he doesn't fit the scheme. Yeah, he had his chance. Yeah, he averaged less than 1 yard in preseason. Yeah, he had all that. But they also trust him as a back, and he's been with the team 3 years. So I'm not so sure that Akers would handle full duty, a.k.a. Mixon, if indeed Mixon was out for any extended period of time. I'm not sold he'd be the bell cow back for Akers at all.
Yeah, I don't necessarily need the bell cow. He can even give up some passing down work to Ugumbawale, which is what I think he would do. But if he can get most of the early down work, the goal line work, and a good offense like that, he's not going to be Mixon, but I think he can be a flex play. Like you said, with all the injuries across the league, you're going to be looking for desperate spots. CMC still out. All these running backs are out. I think it'd be a good spot to kind of throw him.
What if he's out there as a free agent? What percent would you put down on Akers this week, Adam?
Akers, I would keep it at 10%, I think, somewhere around there. I think I'd be willing to do that. Again, depending on what my roster looks like. Did I go running back heavy? That type of thing. That type of thing for sure.
Well, that's always a factor.
Yeah. So Jimmy asked, did we talk about the Rams pass game yet? We have not gotten there, Jimmy. Jawan Jennings, we have not gotten to that game either, but we certainly will. So moving on here, Eagles Saints. What an absolute debacle for the Eagles Monday night. The way the game was going, you'd have thought they won by 40 points. They were in control of that game. Then Saquon Barkley brought some of that Giants over with him. Brought some of the New York Giants over with him. That's right. Clangs and easy. And listen, I've got Saquon Barkley in some big spots. I had a Saquon Barkley anytime touchdown bet, brought in with some other bets. Of course, he doesn't get in from the half-yard line. Naturally, Jalen Hurts comes in and gets it done. Then he drops a game. He definitely gets the first down. He probably scores a touchdown on that swing pass, like leaving all types of fantasy points on the table. But A.J. Brown's out, and Devonta Smith looked great. I think you're starting the normal Eagles that you would moving forward here week 3.
Absolutely. And Barkley is human, and he's like your boy Diggs. He's got a real competitive spirit, so I'd look for him to bounce back in a big way. He's a stud. Doesn't matter if he dropped the pass.
Yeah, no, he's definitely a stud. And I loved –
You can't disrespect New York, simply for the record.
I would never disrespect New York.
A.J. Brown, though, is out. Devontae fills his shoes as a wide receiver 1. Our boy Jahan Dotson, who got a lot of playing time in week 1, despite him being on the team less than 2 weeks, again got a fair amount of playing time, although he didn't get many. He got one pass thrown his way, which he caught. I would not give up on Jahan Dotson, folks, if you've got him on your roster, especially with AJ out, maybe 3 to 4 weeks. We don't know about AJ. It's a hammy. Don't drop Dotson. But you play Barkley, of course. You play Devontae Smith. With all the injuries, I bet you there's some people out there that are going to insert Dotson in the starting lineup as a flex.
Which is crazy to think about. He had 1 target last week, 1 catch. Devonta Smith, 34% target share with 10 targets. Barkley number 2, Goddard number 3. So I think you're definitely starting all 3 of those guys for sure. Absolutely. And we did this in an FFWC World Championship. I loved taking taking Saquon and taking Hurts and combining them in the same team, then you don't give a shit if they're down at the 1 yard line. You don't care who gets the touchdown. You got them both. So you were happy. He got this. Hurts got the touchdown. Saquon got the 2-point conversion. Beautiful stuff.
If you recall the WC, the World Championship that we drafted, we got the Eagles stack in Hurts, A.J. Brown, and Barkley. And then back in round 10 or 11, we got, at that time, a commander named Jahan Dotson.
That's right. That's right.
Little did we know we were picking 4 Eagles.
Now an Eagle. I'm okay with that. Saints, super surprising team here. Offensive line has been really, really good, keeping Carr upright. And it's been a funnel offense for them. They've been going through our boy Raheed Shaheed. They've been Olave 42% target share last week, but only 6 targets.
We didn't throw much. You didn't throw.
They didn't throw. They're up by a million points. Shaheed, 4 targets, another long touchdown. Kamara having one of those Kamara days. He has one of those a year, 4 or 5 touchdowns.
That's it.
Taysom Hill gets 1 target. Now he's banged up and might not play this week. So very condensed. You're starting Olave. You're starting Shaheed. You're starting Kamara. Tight ends have kind of sucked this season for them, though, right?
Absolutely. There's nothing there. But, Taysom hurt. He got hurt, so he was out. I'm not a Taysom Hill guy anyway. But I'll tell you that just in general, the New Orleans Saints are the surprise team of the league after 2 games. I mean, they've averaged 45.5 points a game, Adam. If you would have told me the Saints would average 45.5 points a game throughout their first 2 games, and Shaheed would be a top 12 receiver, I would say, thank you. I want Shaheed to be a top 12 receiver. But what happened to that Saint offense, man? They got injected with some sort of steroid.
Well, I think what happened was their O-line's playing great, and guess what? New coordinator, they lead the league in motion. They lead the league in pre-snap motion, and I think that has been ideal for this offense. I mean, all the things go show. Play action passing raises the value of the passing game. Motion raise the value of the passing game. And so they're finally doing a ton of that, and look how easy it is.
Welcome to the 21st century offense. It's about time. Yep. So they've got the weapons. Derek Carr is surprising me. I always thought he's an average quarterback at best. It's only a small sample size. Again, 2 games, but I like what I see.
Yep. Daily double reminds me it's Clint Kubiak. Absolutely. All right. Moving on. Chargers, Steelers. We'll keep it quick here on this one. This will be an ugly ground and pound game, I think, between these 2 teams. I'll give you a chance to really toot your own horn here. The big J.K. Dobbins guy has been unbelievable. You couldn't ask for more out of Dobbins. And but he will have some rough sledding this week against the Steelers, who are a really, really good defense. Yes?
Could be. I think they could be arguably the toughest run D in the league. TJ Watt is an animal. He's just a beast. But J.K. Dobbins, I mean, I picked him up in as many leagues as I could in rounds 11 and 12. Sometimes I had to pay up for round 10. But what was there to lose? I didn't understand. Everybody was touting how the Chargers under Harbaugh was going to be a running team, and they were going to pound the rock. And it just didn't justify, like, who's going to do it? Is it going to be Edwards? Is it going to be J.K.? Is it going to be Vidal? Well, if it's one of them, why are they going? The earliest they're going is round 10.
Right.
I mean, so I thought it was really a no-lose situation. It's not even balls to the wall. It's really, it's like taking Justin Fields like I did in round 19 and 20 on 28 different teams, for God's sake. It's the same thing. What do you got to lose? What's the downside in J.K. Dobbins in the 10th round? I couldn't understand why more drafters weren't keen to picking him up, and I'm happy that they weren't, actually.
Yeah, I think that people were waiting for the shoe to drop as far as like them making a deal for someone. But as you kind of followed along, and you were really good at taking the lead on this, is like, nope, he feels good. The coaching staff says he feels good. They're showing videos of him in camp running full speed. Like, okay, well, I guess this is gonna be a thing. Gus Edwards stinks. Speaking of like waiver type stuff, Gus Edwards, I think Vidal's available on your waiver. Where Gus Edwards is old and slow. He's never been freaking good. And by the way, can I just say, like, this will be the last time I say it because I've talked about it all the time. J.K. Dobbins was going to win me millions of dollars last year. Okay, Gus Edwards is terrible. Had freaking 16 touchdowns on that Ravens team. That was going to be. I mean, look how good Dobbins is coming off of freaking torn Achilles. He was going to go crazy last year. So now he's going to pay us back at 13th round.
Amen. From your mouth to God's ears.
Yeah, right. He's going to pay us back.
Fantasy football God's ears, at least.
Kamani Vidal would be my pickup. Gus Edwards, I know you're not going to drop him because you never drop running backs, but I think he's completely dust. What do we think real quick? Quentin Johnston, 31% target share. Freaking another guy that I was so high on last year.
There you go, man. So redemption is yours, Adam.
Yeah, except I didn't take any Johnston this year. So bad. 31% target share, 6 targets, another touchdown. Led McConkey 21%. Disley and Josh Palmer. I do wish they would get but they're not going to. Harbaugh never does get the running backs involved in the passing game. But Quentin Johnston on a lot of waiver wires. Are you looking to add him, Snake?
Absolutely. Why would you not? Especially with Josh Palmer battling a different knee and ankle injury than he battled last year. It seems, I don't know if it's a chronic knee injury. It's something going on with him and injuries. He's not a stay healthy player. But Quentin's a first-round pick. He had a lousy year last year. We know it's well documented. Everybody knows what happened. But how can you say no on a first-round pick with a team that really doesn't have any plethora of great receivers outside of McConkey, who was a rookie and they drafted in the first round? I think Quentin can pleasantly surprise Adam.
Yeah, for sure. I'm picking him up as redemption from last season. And they're going to get some good game scripts too, where they're not winning and they're not in close games and they're going to have to throw it. And Herbert's a good quarterback, so I'm good with that. Real quick on the Steelers, the passing game. George Pickens is great, but he was number 2, 17% target share, 3 targets. I mean, the week before that, he was barely even out there. Out there like 75% of the routes. Pickens, it's just Arthur Smith doing Arthur Smith stuff. Again,
wait a second, I gotta cut you off. It was well documented. Pickens got robbed. He got robbed of a touchdown. He got robbed. Pickens could have had a 17-point game. It was a bullshit call on that pass interference. They called the pick in the end zone.
Yep.
George Pickens easily. I'm a Pickens guy as well, so I'm going to defend him. I'm not going to blame Arthur Smith. They have no one else to go to. I think Pickens is going to have a hell of a year. Well,
I love George Pickens too. Pat Frymuth, 23% of the target. They just don't throw the ball enough. Their top four guys combined for 12 targets. Like, that's absurd. Again, they're going to be in games where they're going to be trailing. Their defense has been so freaking good.
They're also keeping the Fields under wraps. They don't want to lose the game, and he's playing very conservatively. They're just telling him to go out there, take it easy, don't lose the game on turnovers and sacks. So once he gets more comfortable in the system and Tomlin trusts him, I think they'll let him go a little bit more, and I think that bodes well for Pickens moving forward.
Jalen Warren is a flex. Najee Harris is a flex, and we'll move on. All right, Broncos, Bucks. I like the Bucks to smash them in this game. Baker Mayfield just rejuvenated over there, playing so well. Chris Godwin. We got a lot of Chris Godwin. At least I do have a lot of Chris Godwin, man.
Good call on your side. He's really balling.
PFF's number 1 receiver so far, getting back out of the slot. Getting back into the slot. Doing his thing. What do you think about this Bucks offense?
They look great, man. They look great. They're surprising me. Baker looks. I thought Baker was gonna have a down year. I thought last year was his year of glory, and he would come down to earth this year, and that's not been the case. Again, small sample size, 2 games. Things not only can but will change. I mean, even when we're talking in week 10, I'll say the same thing. Things can and will still change, but Baker looks great. Your boy Godwin, great pick on your call. I have 0 shares of him. He looks real comfortable in the slot. I like McMillan, looks good too, actually. I think McMillan can come on and make some noise. I stayed away from Evans this year. So far, we had a good first game, a real good first game, and a quiet second game. But Bucky Irving is really the talk. I mean, everyone thinks he's going to replace an inefficient by analytics and also the eyeball test running back in Rachaad White, and that might happen sooner than later. I think you have a lot of shares of Bucky. You were on him this year.
I just didn't like Rachaad White. I mean, he doesn't pass the eye test. Inefficient is a nice way of saying he stinks. Right? Like he had all these catches last year, new offensive coordinator, and now he's a bit banged up. This could be Bucky Irving's chance to kind of get in there and get some more work. But if Rachaad White is active, you're starting him. You're starting Mike Evans. You're starting Chris Godwin on that side of the aisle. Broncos, listen, we got to take some time to talk about these guys, because as much as we love some of the picks that we've made so far, Javonte Williams has been very disappointing this season.
I don't blame Javonte Williams at all. I'm not even his usage. That team is fugly looking, man. Outside of the Panthers, they're the worst looking team in football through 2 weeks offensively. Nick looks lost, right?
Yeah, he looks lost. He's sailing balls. Now, again, they played the Steelers defense, which is really, really good. And Javonte Williams is getting targets. I mean, that's the thing that's saving him. Last week he had like 11
5 catches for 48 yards. McLaughlin was shut out, and Javonte Williams is our pick. He's our flagpole guy, and I think he's going to be okay. I really do. I'm not panicking on anybody after 2 weeks. Talk to me after week 5 or 6. I'll give you a panic meter. But their offense stinks.
I know.
Not incompetent. They stink.
I know. Nick's has been bad. But again, they played some tough defenses here too. Let's get Javonte a little bit more time. And again, this is what we care about: catches and goal line work. And Javonte Williams is getting the catches, and I think he's the goal line back. They got to freaking get there to find out. But
I'm on Javonte. I am not getting off Javonte Williams. And the receivers are a mess. I mean, I don't even know why they don't play Mims. He's the first draft pick that Sean Payton took when he went to Denver last year. I mean, I think the guy has more talent than anyone I see running routes on the field outside of Sutton, arguably. I don't even know why he can't surpass Reynolds or the rookie. What's his name? Mull, something. I forget. The Denver Bronco.
The Broncos. I can't think of his name.
Yeah.
Oregon. He was in Oregon. I'm trying to think of his name. But anyways, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I think they should. I don't know what Sean's doing, but I know when Mims was on the field last year, he looked pretty damn good, and now he's in his second year. Again, overall first pick of Sean, so I think he would have something to prove. So I wouldn't be surprised if Mims played a bigger role going forward, but right now he's nothing.
Yeah, there's also little Jordan Humphrey there. Right. You know, there's all, I mean, there's just no one's getting the ball there. And it's just like you said, the offense is a complete enough. Franklin, thank you, Daily Double. Franklin, Troy Franklin out of Oregon. All right. Moving on to it. Oh, God, we're going to spend 1 second on this game because we're moving over to Panthers Raiders. I mean, they move. I'm so excited. I'm like fist pumping in the car when I hear that Andy Dalton is now the starting quarterback of the Carolina Panthers, because now maybe some of my Deontay Johnson shares are saved with Andy Dalton. I think he will at least have the offense be functional. And so you weren't starting any of these Panthers. Now maybe you can start some Chuba Hubbard. You can start some Deontay Johnson. That's really it for me on the Panthers side. Well, what do you think, Snake?
Yeah, I have to concur. I mean, at this point, what's that?
And you're not excited about starting them either. So
no, but at this point, you know what? Your word, functional, I'll take functional for Deontay Johnson. You know,
for sure.
Yeah, it's fugly there. It's fugly in Carolina.
The Raiders,
Dalton hasn't even played. When's the last time Dalton actually played? Did he play last year? I don't remember.
He's been there. So he was there last year too. He's been the backup for the last 2 years. So I think.
Okay.
Yeah. So he's definitely been there. Raiders side, Brock Bowers. I mean, as advertised, we took him a lot.
Yeah.
FFWC. He was a guy we were taking when we missed out on the top guys. He was that next guy, or if you wanted to kind of double up at tight end and get you,
absolutely,
he's the guy you could take in there too. So I've got quite a bit of Brock Bowers. He looks incredible, right?
Oh my God, he's had the best 2 games of any rookie tight end in the history of the NFL. Even going back to Mike Ditka.
Even going back to Mike Ditka, I love it.
No, he has. I'm serious. Even better than the stud tight end rookies last year.
Even going all the way back to Sam Laporta in 2023.
Yeah, right. Way back.
He's having a better year than him too.
No, we were both on Bowers, and I just hope he keeps it up. He looks good. He really looks good.
Brahmo's loving his 5 RB start in all drafts. Listen, so far so good for those for those starts for sure.
Tell him to come back in week 5. We'll speak again.
That's right. So yeah, you're starting Bowers. You're starting Devontae Adams, and that's pretty much it. Zamir White.
Zamir White stinks. I have 0 shares of him. I always said he's
yeah. It's so funny. I've done, like you always joke about how many drafts I've done. I've done a million drafts. I can remember I'm in Kentucky. I remember I said it. I said, this is the worst pick I will make all season. It was like the ninth. It was like the ninth round. Yeah, it was like the ninth round. I'm in a hero RB build. Like, this is the worst. I said, it's the worst pick I will make all. Zamir White in the ninth round, and I hate it. I wish I didn't take him in the 20th.
I'm proud to say I have one less share than you do at 0.
That's right. I'll trade him to you. How's that sound?
No, I don't want
all right. Dolphins, Seahawks. Could have been a great game. No Tua getting his like fourth really bad concussion. I think he had 3 of them against the Bills too. The Bills really get to him, I think. But now he goes on today. They put him on the IR for 4 weeks. You're still starting. You're starting the big names there. You're starting Achane. I have a couple of shares of him. I have something I want to talk about the Dolphins myself quick, and then I want to turn it over to you. You're starting Waddle. You're starting to Tyreek Hill naturally. I will say Devin Achane's awesome. No one was taking him more than me. I was taking him in the 3rd round. And then even when I didn't want to take him anymore, I had to keep taking him because people were leaving him to me. But I don't like, they're saying Mostert might not play this week. I don't like this. Jeff Wilson might not play. I don't want him at 29 touches a game because he's not going to last. Yeah. He's not going to last. I need them to start incorporating some other backs. He's probably a top 5, top 6 back this week against Seattle, but he can get there on 15 touches, 5 catches, 10 carries, something like that. We need them to incorporate some of these other backs because I'm nervous. I'm getting the Cooper Kupp vibes. Oh, Cooper Kupp to the moon now because Puka Nakua's out. No, Kupp can't handle that workload that he used to have. And sure enough, he lasted 2 quarters. So I am a little bit afraid of them overworking.
I don't think that's going to be the case going forward. Remember, they had Mostert was out. And they were coming off a Thursday night game, for God's sake. But I'll tell you what, though, I agree. I agree 100%. It makes me nervous. But he still did the job. He got 29 touches altogether. I was with you. You and I are on the HN train the whole time.
Yep.
People are bad-mouthing him, saying he's too small, he doesn't have it. And we never got off. We stayed on it. I grabbed him as much as I could. My only regret is I didn't take him more.
I know.
It's the flow. Sometimes the flow of the draft, and he's not there. You just miss him by a pick or 2. But I have him on 20% of my 34 teams. So, I wish I had more. But kudos to us for hitting on HN.
For sure. And hopefully he stays healthy. And the other thing, too, so, hey, what do we do without Tua? A couple things. One, if I have Tua, I'm not dropping him. I think you want him there. There's not a lot of great quarterback play.
Don't drop Tua. Nobody drops Tua.
I got a lot of Caleb Williams. I got a lot of crappy other quarterbacks. I'm going to hold on to Tua, add another player. Skylar Thompson, as far as percentage of passes, he was number 1 in passes to the running back last year when he played. So, again, more super exciting news for HN. Really good stuff. I think they're going to get him involved in the passing, which is what I want. Get him out on the perimeter. I don't want him smashing up the middle.
No, that bodes well for HN and the running backs, but also it doesn't bode too well for Waddle and Tyreek.
Correct.
So
arrow down for them both. Arrow down for both. But you're still starting them.
But those guys have the talent to overcome even a Skylar Thompson. There's no way you cannot put Waddle, HN, and Tyreek in your starting lineup. No way.
Yeah, no, you definitely got to have them out there for sure. Seahawks, it's the usual suspects, except JSN has a coming out party last week.
Yes, sir.
Really nice to see. That's right. I forgot. Snake for sure was driving that train. I was like 2nd or 3rd car back.
You were right with me. You and I were in the front. We were taking turns at the wheel, man.
I like it. We got a question from Jody. Drop Joe Burrow for Jacoby Brissett, half-point PPR. What do you think?
I think he's busting my chops because he knows I'm very smitten with handsome Joey B.
Handsome Joey B.
Yeah,
handsome Joey B had a pretty. We'll get to that, but he had a pretty good game last week.
Chops, and it's not going to work, Jody. Take it home.
Right. That's right. Take that back. But yeah. So the Seahawks, Metcalf, great game. JSN coming out party. Forget Lockett. Who cares about Tyler Lockett? Get him off the field. Let JSN cook. He was awesome. Charbonnet was okay. Gets a touchdown. Gets a bunch of catches. That's the guy. Those are the guys we were taking when we were taking those hero and 0 RB builds. You can have Kenneth Walker in the 4th. I'll take Charbonnet in the 11th.
Amen.
And I'll get those points for cheaper. What do you think about the Seahawks this week?
I'm sorry.
Seahawks this week against the Dolphins. What do you think?
Oh no, I think the Seahawks My two picks in the beginning of the year, the surprise teams that are really going to go far, were the Seahawks and the Colts. And I'm still on them. I mean, it's 2 games. I love the Seahawks. I love the receivers. I love the Pat. Geno Smith, man. I picked him as my backup. He's my second most backup quarterback on my teams after Justin Fields. I think Geno's a damn good quarterback. He's underrated, and he didn't have any help last year.
Right. And now he's got that offensive coordinator from Washington spreading it out.
Waldron.
Waldron, that's right. I think he's going to do really well. He's a guy that's available on waivers. I'm keeping Tua. I'm dropping guys like A.T. Perry who never panned out. Pick up a quarterback. Keep 3. I know it's gross, but you got to do it. Unfortunately.
Yeah, all right. I agree.
Moving on. Big game. Ravens Cowgirlies on the schedule this week. Should be a really good game. Should be hopefully a high-scoring game if the Cowboys can figure out how to score on this Ravens defense. You're starting your usual guys. You're starting Henry. You're starting Lamar. You're starting Dak, CeeDee Lamb, Andrews, the tight end position. He finally gets back out there, gets that starting tight end position back. I knew he didn't lose it, but still doesn't have a great game. Andrews. That O-line has not been great. Has not given Lamar time to kind of sit back and read the defense.
Yeah, they have 3 new offensive linemen there.
Right. What are you doing with Andrew? I mean, you're obviously starting him because
you have to play Andrews.
An elite tight end, but
Andrews is the starter. Likely becomes the question mark at flex, depending on who the other option is. But I think Andrews is going to resume more of a role in terms of catching the ball. Why would you actually consider start? I wouldn't give up on Andrews after.
No, I wouldn't give up on Andrews. I'm just trying to who are the guys we're definitely playing? Zay Flowers. So Andrews, 17% target share. Zay Flowers, 34% target share. They're targeting him a lot. He looks really good. He's due for a monster 180-yard, 2-touchdown game, the way that they're using him with his 8 down the field. 10 targets for him. And this freaking Cowboys defense, man, they're just 1 week they're shut out. The next week they give up 40. So I could see a massive Flowers game this week.
It's not the Cowboys, by the way. I just wanted to correct you. You got it right the first time. It's the Cowgirlies.
The Cowgirlies.
Daily Double and then JB and all the other Cowgirly fans out there. They're in trouble. They're in trouble this year. I said they would be. Lamb pops up with an injury. I was watching the game. He looked like he got hurt. He was limping around. It might be more impactful than they're letting on. They can't afford to lose him. I think the Cowboys are in a heap of trouble. But Lamb goes, you start him. You know what? The Cowboys desperately need a running back. They should trade for a running back.
Roshan Johnson, please. Calling Roshan Johnson or Khalil Herbert.
I'll take either. I mean, they really need a back. I mean, I don't think it's going to be Cook and Dowdle and Elliott. They're just not going to cut it.
You know who else is a back? The Chiefs. You could freaking call the Bears too. They got a bunch of running backs.
There you go.
They can give up for sure. So yeah, you're starting Andrews, Henry. You're starting all the usual suspects there. Hope for a shootout. Hope to have a really good game.
Don't start Rashad Bateman just yet.
No, God, I said the usual suspects, not Rashad Bateman.
He's an unusual suspect.
He's so unusual for sure. Niners, Rams. Again, we got some injuries there. Debo Samuel, RIP. Hopefully he comes back sooner rather than later.
50-point totals, by the way. 50 total points.
Yeah. The Rams defense is terrible. Look for an Ayuk explosion, a Kittle explosion, all the remaining characters. I'm targeting Jawan Jennings on waivers this week. He's a spot start guy for me for sure.
He was my sneaky pick.
There
Jawan Jennings, Naylor, and Tolbert are my 3 sneaky waiver wire picks.
Yes, absolutely.
I don't want
to get into exactly what I'm spending on these guys because waivers are tonight and I'm competing with half the people listening. So, but he's a guy.
Well, why don't you inflate it? You know what? You know what it's going to take to get Naylor and Jennings and
220.
It's going to take at least 36.5% of your.
That's right.
For everybody listening out there,
yeah,
you don't spend 36.5% within the
next
2 hours. You're not getting them.
You're not getting them.
Forget it.
Exactly.
36% is the number. Do it.
Like Snake says, balls to the wall. But yeah, you're starting all the Niners for sure. The Rams defense is terrible. The Rams are done. Their season shot. Their defense stinks.
They're decimated.
On the Rams side, what's your favorite Rams receiver, Snake? I know we've talked about this before, But I mean, you're just kind of starting crossing your closing your eyes and throwing a dart for these receivers.
I mean, it's got to be Demarcus Robinson is going to assume the number one. So he's going to get his target share, but whether or not he can separate against the opposing team's best corners still remains to be seen. So there's some sneaky plays there, Tyler Johnson, but Whittington looked good, and he could pull a Nakua 2.0 in 2024. Who knows?
Good. I don't think it's just a bad week for that too against the Niners, a freaking rival. I just don't see anything go. Kyron Williams, listen. He might get worked into an injury this week. There's no receivers. This Niners defense wants to kill you. Like Kyron, this could be
too. They're coming off a loss. They're mad.
Yes, they're pissed. I could see. We're gonna be talking about Blake Corum as a starting running back week 4 after this Niners game against the Rams.
They might incorporate Blake a little bit into this game more than usual with Puka and Cooper being out.
Wouldn't that be nice? But yeah,
you're not surprised if they do.
You're not feeling comfortable. You're not starting Stafford for sure. But I think that this is gonna be a blowout. The Niners start all your Niners with confidence, and even start Juwan Jennings in the flex for sure.
Yeah, Juwan's a good flex play.
Lions,
but it's going to take 32.5% to get him.
32.5% for sure. Lions Cardinals, another exciting game. Listen, there's certain players that we have, that we're competing with certain fantasy, like certain NFL players. Like we always have this thing where the player, when we start him, he doesn't do well, or they always beat us. I don't want to start off Marvin Harrison Jr.'s career like this. Okay, I don't want where I just despise. He goes for 1 point. I own so much of him. He goes for 1 fantasy point week 1, drops a pass, gets open deep. They don't find him. Comes out week 2, 29 fantasy points in the first 6 seconds, and doesn't score another point the rest of the game. Like what? How does that happen? I'm ready for a 60-point outburst. I'm going to crush everyone. Doesn't score another point, sits the whole fourth quarter. It has not been a good start for me and Marvin Harrison.
You know what, though? You're not happy and satisfied with the 29.5 points?
No, not when you score them in the first 4 minutes. Come on. That's a 50-point game. Alvin Kamara didn't stop scoring. What the heck? He's got 4 or 5 touchdowns.
Yeah. Patience is a virtue for a good reason, Adam.
I got 3 kids. I don't have any patience. Come on. What are you talking about?
I get that for sure.
But this game,
one and he was.
But this game, Snake, Lions Cardinals. I mean, we're talking about shootout potential here. Lions are pissed. I will say this about you're starting all your Lions. You're starting all your Cardinals. All the you normally start. But I'm telling you, the offense going through Jameson Williams is not a good thing for the Lions. It went through Jameson Williams in the first half. They scored 6 points or 9 points. Finally, they come out in the second half. They start feeding Amon-Ra. Gibbs starts getting the ball more. Gibbs is a half of a pinky toenail away from walking in for the game-winning touchdown. He steps out of bounds like the 10-yard line. They don't score on that drive. But Jameson Williams, good for him and good for the people that own Jameson Williams, but it's not good for this Lions offense, them forcing the ball. The freaking Sam Laporta.
Oh, man.
Hasn't done anything.
He's a blind, redheaded stepchild. I mean, he's been totally forgotten about. But, it's a 2-game sample. I think the Lions – you're right. You're absolutely correct. They're not going to force the ball through Jameson.
They're going
to go back to their regular game. They'll spread it out. They'll get Amon more involved, although he's always involved. But they'll get Laporta more involved. Look for Laporta to score more than Jameson going forward. Amon looked hurt. I mean, he says he's okay, and he's a warrior.
Yeah.
But man, when I was watching at the end of the game, he looked like he couldn't put any weight on that leg. He looked hurt.
Well, that's because in the first half, I think he had 4 targets, Snake, and then I think they went. Right. That was when Williams ended up with 11 targets and 21% of the target share. Amon-Ra ended up with 18 targets. He had 14 second half targets. They beat him to death. Spread that out over the course of the game. 34% target share. They finally went back to him. Now, they still lost, but the offense just looked so much better. Gibbs third into target share there, and then David Montgomery. I mean, Laporta, good luck as long as Jameson Williams is getting that, because it can't. No offense.
They can't give 18 targets to Amon St. Brown. They gotta let Sammy eat something. Save him some dessert, a piece of cheesecake.
Something.
New York cheesecake, by the way, it's the best in the world.
Delicious.
I mean, seriously, Sammy's going to get more involved. Sell if you have an opportunity, buy high on Sam, buy low on Sam.
Low, yeah, completely agree there. So yeah, you're starting all your Cardinals, you're starting all your Lions,
all of them,
and hope for a beautiful shootout.
51 point over. I have 51 point game total.
Another one you're hoping for a big shootout. Next game, Chiefs Falcons. The Chiefs passing game has not been great. It wasn't great last year, Snake. Remember, you were killing me for taking Patrick Mahomes. This year we come back out, and I'm like, hey, maybe we get. But listen, we lose Marquise Brown, right? Travis Kelce. He doesn't look bad, but I think teams are really keying in on him. Rashee Rice, fine. He's been great, but now you lose the running back for the season. The Chiefs offense might be scrambling a little bit, and maybe losing Pacheco is what they needed to get back into Travis Kelce's good graces here.
Yeah, it's a kind of an interesting dilemma going on in KC, especially with the Hollywood and Pacheco injuries, because they were overstacked, and now they're even with the rest of the league in terms of offensive weapons, But I think the Chiefs got something up their sleeve, and I would never.
It's called the referees, but that doesn't really help us in fantasy. It doesn't help us in fantasy.
Oh my God,
dude!
What they did with Burrow and the Bengals. Now you've got the snake ire up.
Listen, I'm a Bills fan. I've been watching it for all the Mahomes. We're already over an hour into this. I could do an hour show on Patrick Mahomes. He's the worst every time. He gets every call in the world. And then when he doesn't, he cries. Like when the Bills beat him last year in the regular season, he couldn't congratulate Josh Allen at midfield. Oh, no, he had to white. Can you believe that? Can you believe that call? Josh Allen's like, yeah, buddy, sorry, good game. And the same thing happens to freaking Joe Burrow. Like, it's just
he's a diva, man. They're the referees' darlings. I mean,
he's the worst.
They might as well be wearing zebra stripes themselves, the Chiefs. I can't believe that shit what happened against the Bengals. Bengals had that game, man.
All the time. And here's the other thing, too. You can't even really blame the Zebras, although you can. The drive before that hits Yoshivas right in the hands for the game. Like, that's going to be a first down, game over, and Yoshivas just goes ahead and drops that freaking thing. So it's like that game could have been over for sure. So, yeah, but again, start your Chiefs. You're going to start.
Joey B, by the way, is look good. And, after not having, much help, and Higgins, maybe fingers crossed he comes back. Start all your Chiefs. Of course, you got to start them. I think Worthy will get more involved as well, especially with Pacheco and Hollywood being out. So if you're a Worthy owner, best is yet to come, in my opinion.
Yeah, you got to start. They have to get Worthy going.
But that what do everybody do about the running back? I know we're running out of time, but what do you do about that running back?
Yeah, no, the running backs, honestly, I like minimum bid, low bid CEH, man. I think let him come back in a couple of weeks. Unless you're desperate. If you're a Pacheco owner, I realize you need something now. But if you can afford to wait, you're not a Pacheco owner. I like a little CEH for a couple bucks and see what happens because he was out for mental health issues, Snake. He wasn't out for anything physical.
And therein lies the problem. It's not a physical injury, it's a mental injury.
Yeah.
And they are unpredictable, to say the least. So you don't know what's going on in his head. PTSD is not something I would wish upon my worst enemy. I'd rather wish an MCL upon someone than a PTSD, to be honest with you. So I don't know about CEH. I'm surprised you mentioned him, actually. You don't like Steele or Ingram?
I mean, I think Steele's okay. Steele is owned in most leagues that I'm doing, but he is available in some. I just think the Pacheco owners are going to go crazy, and they probably should. And they're going to bid $100, $200, $300 to get him. And who knows?
To get who?
To get Steele.
Oh, they'll bid more than that.
Yeah, right. That's what I'm saying. Like they're going to bid crazy to get Steele. I would rather do a little minimum bid on CEH, and then when he comes back, see how that works out.
If he comes back,
that is true.
His mental faculties are not intact. That's a gamble. It could be worse than an MCL. I don't want to repeat myself, but
yeah. Well, I mean, again, it's if you spend $6 on him and he doesn't come back, you're fine. Like whatever. But if you lost Pacheco, you definitely got to go out and spend up. Daily Double says 250 to 400 is probably going to go for
who? Steele?
Yeah, probably for Steele. Isn't that crazy? He's not even good. Like he's not. He's a fullback, but But Peyton Hillis was also a fullback, and he had his little swan song there.
Oh,
too.
there's some fullbacks that have scored.
Hunt, yeah. There's a question about Kareem Hunt. Yeah, you're going to add all these guys, Jimmy. You're going to go out. I mean, you can't add them all on your team. You're going to put bids in on all of them and see which one you're going to probably get one of them and cross your fingers that that's the one that sticks. The Chiefs should really be freaking trading for somebody, to be honest with you.
But therein lies the problem, because it's such a mishmash and a question mark, that whole backfield, the 5 or 6 players we're talking about. You really can't bid too much for one, or you're going to blow your wad prematurely. Yeah. Blowing your wad prematurely is never a good thing.
Never a good thing. Carson Steele, I will say, he was getting work. He was getting goal line work before Pacheco got hurt. So I think they're going to give him a chance. Like, I think he has an opportunity there.
Steele, categorically and unequivocally, Steele is the most viable option.
Yes.
And people should spend not $250 to $300, but $400 to $500 on Steele.
Yeah, if you want to go get him, let's listen to you. Wink, wink, wink. All right, moving on. Jags Bills on Monday Night Football in Buffalo. I might go to that game, Snake. I don't go to games on Sunday 1 p.m. I get too much fantasy involved. But in here, Western New York, we owe the Jaguars. I think they've beat us like 3 times in a row. They're a wounded animal right now. They stink. Trevor Lawrence stinks.
What did I tell you about? Who was my bust this year?
That's right. Trevor Lawrence was your bust for sure. He's terrible. This offense is terrible. Christian Kirk, 1 catch for -1 yard. Evan Ingram doesn't play, and he gets that. Oh, I mean, it's
Christian
just
Kirk with a Houdini act. I mean,
with the Houdini act. If people wanted to drop Christian Kirk, I wouldn't even say don't.
I wouldn't go that far.
Well, I wouldn't even be angry, because it's just like it's absolutely crazy how bad.
I wouldn't go that far. I think that's jumping the gun a little bit.
It is games. But I would.
But Trevor Lawrence is the most overrated quarterback in the NFL. I said it since day one.
Yeah, he stinks. He's the number 1 overall pick in the draft. He just hasn't blossomed. Granted, he didn't have Evan Ingram, his number 1 target from a year ago, but I mean, his top to Gabe Davis, 25%. Brenton Strange. I mean, that just goes to show you, Brenton Strange had 25% of the target share. What was Evan Ingram going to freaking do if he actually played?
Right.
Brian Thomas, though, the one kind of silver lining, Brian Thomas has been awesome. He had a beautiful contested catch deep, only four targets. They're going to be playing catch up against this Bills team. Brian Thomas is a sneaky flex for me for sure.
Yeah, I thought he was a one-trick pony. I didn't draft him anywhere. I know that you've got a few shares and you liked him, I remember. But he is a pleasant surprise so far.
Yeah, so that's what I'd be starting over there. The Bills offense, man, I'm telling you, I was off of Josh Allen this year as the QB1 because he doesn't have the weapons, and they want to play this slow-paced game. They want to slow this game out. He only had 9 fantasy points last week in a blowout win over Miami. Again, huge blowout win. In a lot of those games, he's not going to get there. They have a really tough schedule. They're not going to be playing ahead a lot. But James Cook had probably his best week of the year. 3 touchdowns, a receiving touchdown included in one of those. It was kind of the perfect storm for him. So if you drafted him, you're happy about that. But
that was your, I have to remind you, that was your bust pick, by the way.
It was my bust pick. He's still my bust pick. 2 of those touchdowns were long touchdowns in a blowout game over Miami. That's what he has to do. He has to score long touchdowns to get there because the goal line stuff is just Josh Allen's. So,
that's probably his best game of the year as well.
It probably is his best game of the year. Fine. The receiving core, I'm not starting anybody. If you have to, injury, whatever, Khalil Shakir would be the guy. He's going to get the most targets, I think, there in Buffalo. But it's going to be a 5 for 70 type performance from Khalil Shakir. Another big bust is the Dalton Kincaid. He's been out there every play. He's been running all the routes, but he hasn't been targeted.
Samuel, you're talking about Curtis or Shakir?
Well, I said Shakir for the receivers, but Dalton Kincaid has been. Has been a guy.
I've got Kincaid too, and he is out there. It's okay. It's a 2-game sample size. Talk to me in another 2 weeks after week 4, and then I'll tell you how high my snake worry meter is. Actually, I have a choice this week on more than 4 teams between Brock Bowers and Dalton Kincaid.
Bowers, 100%.
I know you say it's a slam dunk Bowers, but I'm not.
Dunk it, slam dunk, baby. Here's the thing I will say about Kincaid. They targeted him early. He had the first 2 targets of the game, had 2 catches, and then he took on the second catch, he took a really bad knee to the helmet, Like he was going.
I saw that.
And I think that jacked him up for like a quarter. Like maybe he had a concussion. It wasn't reported, whatever. So maybe that was a problem in the game the rest of the way. So if they get back, and again, he runs all the routes and all that type of stuff. He's out there all the time. He's going to have one of these big games early. This might be the week.
In case I don't want to bench
Bowers.
I'm sorry?
I don't want to bench Bowers, though. I just start them both stinks.
I can't. I'm not going to sit Rashid Shaheed.
Oh, you can't sit Rashid Shaheed. And his 4 targets. You can't sit those. Come on. All right.
Both games and early in the first quarter, they give him 60, 70-yard bombs, man.
I know. I love it. All right. Last game, Commanders against the Bungles. Hey, nice start for the rookie. For Jaden Daniels, doesn't have a huge fantasy week. Week 1, he did 30 points. This last week, though, gets him inside the 10 like 5 times. They win the game on 7 field goals. Gets him inside the 5-yard line like 5 times. Can't put it in. I don't know. They can't design a play for McLaurin to get open inside the 10. I mean, they literally ran like 12 plays from inside the 10-yard line.
Hey, the Giants defense stiffened up, though. You got to give them credit, too.
Ben Sinnott also jumped off sides, or false started like 3 times inside the 10 because he's an idiot. But I think they're going to get going. Jaden Daniels looks like a complete control. You know what I mean? Like he's so fast. He took kind of a hit early, but he looks comfortable. I love starting him week in and week out. I like starting him against the Bengals, but McLaurin I don't love. Robinson and Eckler, Robinson for sure. Eckler maybe not so much. But I'm probably still starting Terry McLaurin, but you got to see something out of him soon, right?
You know what? You got to start Terry McLaurin. I mean, this week I wouldn't be surprised if he catches 8 for $130 and a touch. Really, he's just a great receiver. He'll get on the targets. He'll get on the same page. McLaurin's going to be all right. I wouldn't panic on him. I know 2 games. He has no production. It sucks. And by the way, I do have to make you pay a little bit for being down on Brian Robinson, and I liked him. So he looks good, man.
Yeah, he does look good. He does look good. Again, it was a situation where goal line work. Jaden Daniels did take a touchdown from him week 1, or maybe even last week too. I think no, he didn't have any touchdowns week 2, but
week 1.
Week 1, yeah. So that's what I was afraid of again, but he's certainly been getting there. McLaurin 28% target share, wonderful. 8 targets last week.
He'll eventually be fine, man. McLaurin's going to end up the season with 1,200 yards. You watch.
Yeah. Bengals last team here. T. Higgins, who knows? He gets the extra day of rest. So you kind of got to wait that out. He's always, and he's another one of these guys that whenever he comes off an injury, he plays 4 plays and kills you. So even if he's active, I wouldn't be super excited about starting him, but the Commanders defense is terrible. Look what Malik Neighbors, Jamar Chase to the moon this week with Malik Neighbors type.
And even if Higgins does go, I've got a lot of Higgins, by the way. I own him on 38 games.
Me too.
I love him, but if he's going to play injured, I'm not playing him.
I know.
I've learned my lesson more than 5 times by doing that. So he's got to show me that he's okay. And as a matter of fact, I would love for him to sit one more game if he's not right.
Me too. I don't want to have to start it. Yeah, exactly. And so yeah, but it's hard to with all the injuries, man. You get Higgins against a terrible Commanders defense. I get it. It's going to be a tough decision for some people. Zach Moss. I like Zach Moss in this game against the Commanders defense. Singletary had a great game against them last week. I like Zach Moss. He might not get a ton of targets, but he could certainly score a touchdown and have 100 yards rushing.
Potentially he could, and I also on the other side of the coin, I can see Burrow throwing the ball 47 times, and them having Chase Brown and Zach Moss having a combined 12 carries the whole game. I wouldn't be surprised if that occurred also.
Yeah, the Bengals, I can see them getting out to a lead and wanting to run the ball, especially without T. Higgins. But yeah, I mean, Burrow's pissed. The Bengals are pissed after that stupid game last week.
I'm pissed. I love Hanson Joey B. I'm pissed. I love Hanson Joey B. They're my second favorite team. They had Mahomes and the Chiefs by the balls, and they should have won that game, man.
Terrible. Unbelievable. But all right, last question here, and we can really talk about this one because in the leagues we're in, Snake, this guy's not available. How much fab would you put for Rashid Shaheed in a 12-man half PPR league? So his value goes up in half PPR. When your wide receivers are Lamb, Adams, and Neighbors, so you don't necessarily need him. He's not I don't know if this is 100 or 1,000, so we'll just do a percentage here. Man, I'd do like 50% of my budget on him. I don't know if it's a home league or who else is normally available, but I mean he's a wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3 kind of.
It's a question asked in a vacuum because we don't know the rest of his squad. We don't know the makeup of his roster.
He has 100, but
his 3 wide receivers.
He or she has 3 really good receivers. You don't need him. You could start him in the flex. Depends on what the roster looks like.
But 50% is not crazy for Rashid Shaheed.
Yeah, I mean he might be the best pickup all year. You start 2 receivers and then a flex. Okay, so he's not even a starter.
Okay.
So that's a little bit different. I would definitely spend less then.
Yeah,
but this is
31.6%.
31.9% for me. $1 actually. I'm gonna do $1 on that one. But yeah, no, he's a guy that you want to get, but in that format. Thanks for bringing that up. I wouldn't go too crazy because he's like your second bench player as a receiver. You might even have other good running backs too. But
my man Rashid is balling, huh?
He is. He's definitely balling. It's been a great start, other than the injury snake. And so a lot of our guys are cooking. And I actually, speaking of that, oh my God, I got 45 minutes to waiver. So actually waivers are 11 p.m.
Right.
WC. They move.
Yeah, we have an hour and 50. We have an
well
hour.
Done. Well done. We're good with that. But Snake, well done tonight, sir. Great time picking apart these games, picking apart these teams, and good luck to you this week.
As always, Adam. Sir Adam, it's always a pleasure working with you, and let's do it again, man.
Yes, sir. We'll talk soon, everybody. We will see you guys next week. We're looking to do Wednesday nights, kind of a pre-waiver wire show. Thursday's going to get busy. Monday, Tuesday, we don't really know what happened yet. We're still trying to figure it out. So thanks for tuning in, everybody. We will see you next week.